And with that being said, we're going to jump into our first segment about immigration here with a Fox News segment describing the situation that is going on in Yuma, Arizona, with the influx of drugs, the cartel, as well as illegal immigrants crossing the border. Let's go ahead and roll it.
Dana, back to the migrant crisis here in Yuma, Arizona. I want our audience to understand where we are. We're at what amounts to a triangle, okay? This is Mexico to my right. This is California, you see, directly behind me, where the wall is actually finished and completed. We're about a 160-mile stretch. And then you get to Arizona, and that's where we are today, and that's where the problems have been bad for a long time. It's so bad that border officials say the county here in Yuma is on the brink of collapse. I'm joined by two officials who have been at the spear of this from the beginning, trying to help their community and trying to keep their country safe. Yuma County Supervisor Jonathan Lyons and the County Sheriff Leon Wilmot. Gentlemen, thanks for getting up early today. Sheriff, you are most concerned with the criminal element that has come into your county.
Absolutely.
How are you dealing with it?
Every day is a new challenge when it comes to securing our border and helping our Border Patrol partners try to fill that gap.
Yeah, the reason I mentioned that is I just explained the geography of where we are. But Yuma County is the only county in America that is bordered by two separate Mexican states.
Correct.
So you're dealing with two separate Mexican cartels. What's that challenge?
It's a huge challenge because you have Baja California, which is the Jalisco New Generation cartel that controls the river corridor in Yuma County. And then I have the Sinaloa cartel in Sonora, Mexico, and they control the desert part of our county. So anything that's done here is coordinated by both those cartels, and it's for a reason.
Yeah, it's double trouble, too, in the end.
It is.
But remember, you guys, according to DHS Secretary Alejandro Mayorkas, the border is secure. He literally has told Congress multiple times. We've actually seen the DHS secretary on Fox News say the exact same thing. It's a continued message from the Biden administration as a whole that the border is secure, but yet you have real boots on the ground saying, hey, there's cartel running rampant. They're the ones basically running the show down there. And, we're just trying to stay above water here. And so are our constituents in the area. And what's even sad on top of that is not only are they dealing with the crime, the drugs, all this stuff taking place, but they're also dealing with the aspect of having massive amount of illegal immigrants pouring across the border. They're having to deal with the cartel. They're having to deal with the fentanyl. They're having to deal with the finances of all this, of which they're not being reimbursed. Yeah, you heard me correctly. Their budgets in these localities are going through the roof, and they're not being refunded for any of this, of which the Biden administration has caused. They've caused this from their messaging or the lack thereof. They've caused this from not securing the border, not building a border wall. I mean, it's thing after thing. And these poor people down there are having to deal with all this because you have a president that doesn't want to do his job.
Jonathan, you're an American. You pay your taxes. You getting your money's worth here?
No. County Supervisor, Mayorkas came here, promised that he would finish the wall. Hasn't done it. We see a little bit of traffic, but in the meantime, we've had 300,000 people that we know about come across. We're concerned about the people who are the gotaways. Yesterday they got somebody on the terrorist watch list, an Iranian. We want to know about the other million people that are coming across and where they're going and what they're doing.
Yeah, one thing that became clear to me after we drove down from the Super Bowl of all places, right? It's such a uniquely American event. And this, unfortunately, is another unique American event for all different reasons. But, Sheriff, you have a different theory. You think the cartels use human beings as a ploy to distract attention in order to take things like fentanyl, because they can make a lot more money on the drugs. Explain that.
That's a really interesting take here, is that the cartel has the potential of creating so much drugs, is that, yeah, they're creating a cluster at the border or along the border states there of the massive amount of fentanyl that's coming through and basically clogging up the system for these Border Patrol agents on apprehending those that are bringing the drugs across or just accumulating the amount of drugs just as it is, which we've heard from the Biden administration saying that they've had an uptick of basically grabbing all that fentanyl from the border. But what they're not catching is the known gotaways of those that are entering into the interior of the country with those drugs as well. That's how much they're actually producing here. And there is other stories coming about that a lot of these drugs are even coming from China as well. So the Chinese party, the Communist Chinese party, is sitting there killing Americans all the way from their own borders, putting it through Mexico and coming up the south there, right into the interior of our country and killing our youth. Let's see if he mentions that here.
Absolutely. So what the cartels do is they tie up Border Patrol resources by sending across large groups of give-ups,
There you
which
go.
is the 310,000 that was mentioned this last federal fiscal year. But what you're not looking at is the 28,000 getaways in our county alone, where cartels tie up all the Border Patrol resources with large amounts of give-ups, so it opens up the border so they can actually funnel in those that are smuggling narcotics. So
it's devious.
it is, and they're actually dropping off certain groups out 30 miles away from civilization and having them call 911. So that ties up our resources, and that's why we're seeing such a large amount of fentanyl throughout the whole of the U.S. We have never seen it this bad.
It's devious, and it's also devilish, right?
Human life is nothing to them. It's a commodity, because every person that you hear about all these numbers are paying anywhere from $6,000 to $15,000 to cross our border. You're talking 140.
Somebody should tell Joe Biden this, because the man's created a multi-billion-dollar business. If you want to see somebody that's really backing the cartel, you don't have to look any further than the president of the United States. And you got to love Karine Jean-Pierre's messaging. Oh, well, if Republicans were serious about this, they would have bipartisanship with us and get stuff through. Even though you literally had 2 years of the Democrat Party having all three branches of government, why'd you not get it done then? There's no excuse here. You had a prime opportunity to figure this out. You had Jen Psaki saying this whole thing was a challenge, and then Karine Jean-Pierre comes in and says it's a challenge, and they downgrade it to an issue, and now it's just a problem. So it's amazing that you have record illegal immigration and nothing's still being done about this. But yet you have sex trafficking, human trafficking, drug trafficking. I mean, there is such a massive business that it's literally in the billions. Joe Biden has literally created a whole another business sector at the southern border called sex trafficking, drug trafficking, and just human trafficking. And if he really cared, if he was really serious about it, our military would be down there. We would be building the border wall, which is so interesting about the border wall, right? Because he's so serious about it. You had Governor Greg Abbott of Texas and Doug Ducey of Arizona start building aspects of their own border wall using the shipping containers. And literally the federal government came in and said they couldn't do it. It was on federal land, and it was hurting the environment was kind of the slogan they were going with. Luckily, I believe they still have it up, but the federal government's trying to fight them on it of getting those tankers removed because it's environmental issues. It's hurting the environment. See what this is the whole game that they play. It's so ridiculous, but let's let them continue here.
Different countries, 17 of which have been on terrorist watch list or countries of concern.
You've got 11 kids, and you've chosen to make this place your home.
I love it.
It's changed quite a bit. In our conversation yesterday, you have a landscaper from Mexico, came here 10 years ago, and he's as
I just got to say, folks, if you're seeing me drinking from this mug, you can go to baldbrad.com and get yourself one right now. Just hit the word shop up there at the top, and you can buy this mug and drink coffee or whatever you drink in the morning or at night, whenever you're watching the show. We got merch. We got everything for you. Head over to www.baldbrad.com. Shameless plug right now, folks. We are sponsoring ourselves here, but grab some sick merch over there and hit the join tab down below here in this video and be a true American patriot, because Lord knows, hey, we need some people out there to get conservative thought and ideas out there, because if we don't, then you're going to have people supporting this ish that's going on down there at the southern border and continue to vote Joe Biden. And we don't need another 4 years of Joe Biden, let me tell you.
upset as you are about this. You have a housekeeper whose 18-year-old son died of fentanyl poisoning.
She discovered him after she left my home and went home. She's walking in with her 3- and 5-year-old, and to imagine the horror that she had to confront as she walked in and found her son poisoned with fentanyl, and then to watch him deteriorate over 2 days. And that's just one of many stories in our community and across our nation.
We've had 50 people.
It's a huge effect here in Southern California as well. And you need what, like, is it two like milligrams? Basically, the fentanyl could fit on the tip of a pencil and it would kill you. So these kids are eating candy. They're putting in these color, flavorful things, trying to attract these young kids, high schoolers. Again, as an educator, we've already had the police department come down to our school and talk about it. And we work in a great school. So I can't imagine the inner cities, those that are maybe in rougher areas or high needs schools, having a massive issue here with the fentanyl deaths. And it's all coming through the southern border. But remember, Joe Biden cares about this, you guys. He cares about you, your children, and Americans.
People in Yuma County died from fentanyl overdose last year.
What do you need?
We need the border to be shut down.
We need
security.
This administration to actually secure our border. Homeland security, public safety, and human.
I was told, you guys, that the border is secure. Why do we have a sheriff from Yuma County, and we have another representative of Yuma County there saying, shut down the border, lock it up, secure it. That's what the president can do. But I'm told, again, the guy that's running the show down there, the DHS secretary, Alejandro Mayorkas, said the border's secure. So why are we getting conflicting messages here? It's because Joe Biden is a liar. That is clear as day. The man does not care about American citizens. He doesn't care about you. He doesn't care about your children. All he cares about is his damn self and making sure that he doesn't go to jail because there's some underskirting fraud that's been going on, probably between Hunter Biden and himself. He's the big man, right? He's getting a nice little cut of 10% here. There's a lot of ish going on. The guy just won't do his job. He doesn't care. And somehow Democrats are still electing this guy. Supposedly he's the most popular president in history. Somehow this guy got elected. You guys, how that happened? Well, I don't know. I don't want to get removed off YouTube, but I'm sure we can take a wild guess on how Joe Biden got in office.
Humanitarian. Those are the three priorities that sheriffs across the whole border have been asking this administration to do from the very beginning. And to see Mayorkas say that the border is secure is a blatant lie.
Yeah. Thanks for having us.
You heard it from boots on the ground. It's a blatant lie. Everybody knows it's a lie down there. I have friends that know Border Patrol agents down there. It's a lie. They are completely swamped. And because Joe Biden won't do his job, Americans are suffering. I hope you enjoyed that clip from the Bald Brad Show. If you did, make sure to hit that subscribe button so you can stay up to date on all our future content.